Today on the Mayor Kin channel, Flatbush Girl, A Liar for Hire, Part 2, a continuation of exposing the lies, fabrications, and deceptions of a supposed Aguna activist known as Flatbush Girl. All of that, plus my secret revelation on the Berkowitz divorce case coming up right now. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Mayor Kin channel, where I give you the information you need about authentic Jewish divorce law and expose the fiction, lies, and deception promulgated by the unlearned, the corrupted rabbis, feminist Jewish organizations, and some women themselves. In my last video titled Flatbush Girl, A Liar for Hire Part 1, which I will link below, I exposed two lies Flatbush Clown has stated. Number one, she accused Volvi of molesting his patients/clients and Hamaspik. Number two, she claims that there is a psak chayev legarish against Volvi Berkowitz, justifying her right to shame him and the family in public. She has not produced such a psak, nor has she produced proof that Volvi is a molester. As I too have been victimized for 20 years with false allegations, as you will soon see, I took it upon myself to investigate the Berkowitz divorce case personally so I can discern the truth from the false propaganda. I know firsthand how feminist Jewish activists will conceal from the public pertinent facts about a case and instead highlight to the public just about the status of the get. They make it appear in most cases that the wife is the most innocent and sweetest creature who is married to a monster abuser for not issuing a get upon demand. But that is not always the case. Therefore, I decided to get to the bottom of this case so you as my viewers can see and hear for yourselves the untold story about this divorce. The secret revelation that I was waiting to tell you is the fact that I reached out to both sides of the family, the Berkowitz and Gold family, to inquire what is holding up the get. What I learned was that Malki has refused Volvi visitation for the children for 2 years. This is unacceptable, as parental alienation is not only a form of abuse towards Volvi, but also a form of child abuse, geneva or theft, according to the Torah, but most importantly, such acts definitively render her a moredis and not an aguna. A woman committing parental alienation is not entitled to a get according to halacha. Aguna activists such as Flatbush Clown downplay parental alienation as if it doesn't exist. This is not just my opinion, but in a series of podcasts called Mislabeled, Label Wiener, a brilliant podcaster, in a series of interviews with Flatbush Clown, has concluded that Flatbush Clown is a clown and a heretic for going against the Torah and our sages, could not care less about child abuse, defective parental alienation, and she's in denial that parental alienation is even a factor that exists and shouldn't justify withholding a get. Flatbush Clown believes that a get must be given right away and essentially the man has no rights. She also does not believe in the concept of get meusa and calls it mamzer hysteria and fake news, clearly denying what our sages state in the Talmud.
The concept that a coerced get or an influenced get is then rendered puzzle, and that, if the woman gets remarried, her children are mamzerim, is all a bunch of mamzer hysteria that is also not halachically backed up by anything. And we have harchakos from Rabbeinu Tam that allow us to influence the man to give a get because we believe in his heart of heart that's what he wants to do. So all this fake news around coerced gets rendering mamzerim is just scare tactics and fake news. A lot of men
Sorry,
who claim that they're just
Sorry,
staying
Ellie.
strong for their
He's a dick. He's a
children
dick. No,
are
no,
not actually
Fuck
doing
you,
it for
Ellie.
that reason.
I think there's a lot of men that are. So in those cases, do they have to give a get right away?
Yes.
Why is it fair that that guy has to give a get right away when their wives are clearly manipulating the
Because it's
situation,
religious abuse.
but they're doing child abuse? So
But
one gets to
religious abuse
is
is
worse
a
than holding your
perversion
kids.
of Torah.
holding one's kids and using your
Yeah, maybe
corruption and power to screw another side, regardless to who it is. This
Okay.
is also a corruption.
You can advocate
Oh.
for those things. You can advocate.
You're an advocate for what?
I'm an advocate for a get not being used to create religious abuse.
But why are you not an advocate for a get not being used, for children not being used?
Because based on the research I did, the concept of parent alienation is fake.
You're choosing what is considered abuse to you and okay with letting the other side go because you're not a guy and you're not scared you're going to lose your kids.
What you're saying is reflective of a very slim minority.
So I ask you, that
So
minority-
I adopt the policy that helps protect.
Flatbush Clown, can you repeat those vital statements?
Why is it fair that that guy has to give a get right away when their wives are clearly manipulating the
Because it's
situation,
religious abuse.
but they're doing child abuse? So
But
one gets to
religious abuse
is
is
worse
a
than holding your
perversion
kids.
of Torah.
Religious abuse? The biggest abuser of our religion is you, Flatbush Clown, who wants to reform our Torah with ideas and concepts that are clearly against the Torah. Your wanting to modify or add to the Torah is laughable, as if you invented the Torah and can do as you please. That is not Orthodox Judaism, but Reform Judaism. Let's show some examples. In a recent video, she asks her followers to abstain from sex with their husbands Friday night, as if this will help free Malki. Abstaining from sex is a grave sin from the Torah and therefore is a serious form of religious abuse committed by Flatbush Clown. Let's listen in.
Start with one small experiment. Okay, we're not going to make public pledges and we're not going to make a big balagan. We're going to start yachid b'yachid, yechida b'yechida. And I'm going to ask you, as a kala teacher, we know that Friday night, Shabbos, it's mitzvah night. Please call your husband. Call your husband and tell him, I'm sorry, I am closed for business this Shabbos. If you want to have relations with me, please figure out a way to help free Malki. Call your friends, call all the Rabbanim you know, and try to figure out a way to help free an Aguna of over 4 years. She needs a get, and every single day is more and more torturous for her. Imagine what your husband is feeling for one day is what Malki and Volvi separately have been feeling for over 4 years. It's amazing when the women get involved and they make the necessary calls, but at the same time, you really can't compare. When a man calls, it's a totally different ball game. The person on the other end of the line takes it much more seriously and doesn't assume that the speaker is in emotional hysteria or that they're PMSing or that they're just hormonal. So it's a really good idea to try to figure out who is a male representative that can help put healthy pressure and awareness where it belongs.
She also believes in a woman's right to abortion and transgender rights. Let me read from these screenshots that might be difficult for you to see. One of her Instagram followers writes, "You sound like an angry liberal," and she responds, "I'm an angry feminist liberal that is progressive and pro-choice and late-term abortion and trans rights." So the follower on Instagram writes back to her, "I agree with a lot of what you say, but I don't understand why late-term abortion." And Flatbush Clown answers, "It's about letting decisions occur between a woman and her doctor and her own internal network and no one else." She also advocates for Bittul Kiddushin. Essentially, she wants to abolish Gittin as well. All these are examples of serious religious abuse and a perversion of Torah by Flatbush Clown, and she wants to preach to us that withholding a get because of parental alienation is a form of religious abuse and perversion of Torah? Parental alienation is very prevalent today, and I too, your host, was a victim of parental alienation. I was not allowed visitation for many years with my son, and my ex even went to court to block me from attending his bar mitzvah. So I know firsthand what parental alienation is, and after speaking to many men undergoing divorce, it is a fact that the women who are alienating the children are causing many men to withhold a get. This problem is being ignored by Aguna activists, dayanim, and community rabbis. Until this problem is solved and women are held accountable for this grave sin of child abuse, parental abuse, and kidnapping, the fake Aguna problem will not be solved. Therefore, Flatbush Clown trying to bury her head in the sand and deny that parental alienation exists will buy her lie number 3. Let's listen in to her denial of parental alienation in her own words.
But why are you not an advocate for a get not being used, for children not being used for your power?
Because based on the research I did, the concept of parent alienation is fake.
Do you believe?
You heard that. She said the concept of parental alienation is fake. I want you to know that anyone supporting an Aguna activist such as Flatbush Girl and others like her is supporting child abuse. Since these activists don't care that the women they represent as Agunas, many of them, not all of them, are child abusers for preventing their children from fostering a healthy relationship with their fathers. Here is one man who is pleading for parental alienation to stop.
Got it? We're here on behalf of children. Children come first. Rabbi Victor Miller held that every Aguna is fake. There's no such thing as an Aguna. There are no real Agunas today. Zecher Tzadik Livrocha. Tonight we stand on behalf of children. Children come first. We come here in peace and to daven and to say Tehillim and blow shofar. It's the time Shemant of Elul. We ask that the mothers please stop alienating the children from their fathers. Kids come first. Parental alienation equals child abuse. We're only here on one reason, for kids. My home is open to children all the time, and thank God hundreds of them come. But it's really, really sad that so many children have to come and not see their fathers for 10, 20 years. I even have grandparents and great-grandparents that I haven't seen. Holocaust survivors. We stand that don't see their great-grandchildren and die. This has to stop. It's a sad epidemic, and these rabbis that are backing and pushing all this money, and they're just bringing together more and more money for lawyers and courts. And that's what they do. They take the lawyers against the fathers and more money. And the rich men are all giving money towards this because these are all just single women. Very, very sad.
What lawyers do.
Lawyers are terrible. They steal money from their clients. They force the cases to go longer and longer. On one hand, maybe there are family court lawyers that are actually trying to do the right thing. On one hand, I've seen hundreds of them. 99.9 are just terrible. And the court system allows it. This is wrong. We stand here in peace, we blow shofar, and we say children come first, and the Jewish religion, kids always come first. Children come first! Children come first! Children come first! Children come first! Children come first!
So what do you think was Flatbush Clown's response to this man's plea? Let's listen in to her deranged response.
What's your musser? Let's go. Let's hear the musser. Let's hear the musser. What's the issue? Why am I yelling? Because you've been yelling all night, disrupting a very important asifa.
And any woman that walks in there is crooked. Wow. All these agunas, they're all fakers and liars. No one should be alienated. What happened? This is what.
What is the
I'm
shaykhis of
explaining.
this information
Because-
to women who are chained to get refusers who won't even go to Beis Din to arbitrate a proper child visitation agreement? And you think that you are going to hijack this cause, never for agunos who are trapped against their will, and you're going to bring attention to the cause that you haven't figured out a way to market properly other than hijacking other people's hard work.
Children
Stop
ask,
riding on
why-
the coattails
why
of the suffering of
can't I
Aguno.
see Parental alienation equals child abuse.
What does that have to do with Aguno? Here,
Is
it shows someone
that-
who is deranged and
The
jealous.
fact is that hundreds of kids come to me.
If you have watched my previous video, part 1, I had listed 2 lies uttered by Flatbush Clown. Number 1, that Volvi is a molester without providing proof. And lie number 2, that he has a psak, chayev legarish, and therefore she can humiliate him and his family, but once again has not provided written proof of that, psak, chayev legarish. Then, of course, I have just illustrated lie number 3, which is Flatbush Clown denying that parental alienation exists. Lie number 4 is a very serious lie, which, as we will see, is not only a total lie, but also how damaging her words can be, helping to propagate false information about a person. This is a classic case of Lashon Hara, Rechilos Umoitzi Shemra. I'm speaking about her lies and defamatory remarks against my Bezdin, the Bezdin of Rav Gestetner from Monsey, New York. Let's listen in to her own words.
But nowadays that you have kollels and you have DocuSign, you can churn out a Heter Mea Derabanan in 10 hours for $10,000 if you go to Gestetner's Bezdin, who lives at 17 Mosier Court in Monsey, okay? And is most
Yeah,
corrupt.
are you drumming up business for him?
No, I'm drumming up visibility and accountability to the fact that he runs a scam business.
Flatbush Clown, I think you mixed up the rabbis. Rabbi Aryeh Ralbag from the Young Israel of Avenue K charges $10,000 to $30,000 or more for a Heter Mea Rabbanim. It's no secret. In fact, in the Chaya Seeger case, which I will link below, she claims her ex paid Ralbag $50,000 for a Heter Mea Rabbanim. The irony is that Rav Gestetner is probably the world's leading expert in Gittin. He has dedicated over 20 years of his life to the subject of Gittin and has amassed knowledge in the field like no other. The real reason he is so reviled by many is A, from false propaganda spread by people like Flatbush Clown, and B, he is the world's most honest rabbinic, from the world's most honest rabbinic judges, diametrically the opposite of how she describes him. He doesn't take 1 penny for his services. In fact, if you send an email to pdf@sendfast.org and put on the subject line 9999 and leave everything else blank, you will receive a list of hundreds of letters that Rav Gestetner had written for others and did not charge for any of those letters or documents. I will put this information in the description box below. We are talking about hundreds of hours of free work. He has never charged me or others any fees associated with his Bezdin activities. This is in sharp contrast with other Bezdins that charge for each dayan at least $350 per hour. Multiply that by 3 judges, and you get a whopping $1,000 an hour. He's also very meticulous in rendering a psak that follows the halacha and doesn't waver to feminist agenda or pressures. He understands that making a mistake in Hilchas Gittin carries serious consequences and therefore will not compromise on halacha. This is why other rabbinic courts don't want to recognize him, because he refuses to stoop to their level and charge $1,000 per hour and render rulings against halacha as they do. And this is why the Bezdin of Aryeh Ralbag that charges $10,000, 30 or 50,000 for a heter merabanim is accepted as a bezin for gittin because Ralbag knows how to toe the line along with the other corrupt bezdins. So I ask you, my viewers, who do you trust? The dayan who charges you $1,000 per hour, or the dayan who doesn't charge a fee? Who do you trust? Flatbush girl who admits that she charges for her services, or Rabbi Gestetner who doesn't charge a penny? Let me remind you that the Torah forbids a rabbinic judge from accepting monies and certainly not exorbitant fees charged by today's corrupted Batei Din. You know what, my dear viewers? I am now going to present Flatbush Girl with a challenge, but without a neder, of course, as a Jew is not supposed to be making nedarim. I ask you, my viewers, to send her the following message from me with the following challenge. If you, Flatbush Girl, can provide me with written proof of any man who received a heter merabanim from Rabbi Gestetner and paid him even $1 for that heter merabanim, and you can show me that document, I will give you $10,000. Let me repeat that statement. I will, b'li neder, give to Flatbush Girl or any other person, including dayanim from other Batei Din, $10,000 if you can provide valid proof of a heter merabanim or any other document provided by Rabbi Gestetner for a fee of at least $1. I assure you that she will not be able to provide the proof as it doesn't exist. Yet she has no problem besmirching Rabbi Gestetner while committing grave sins of Lashon Hara, Rechilus, U'Motzi Shemra by calling him a corrupt bezdin and by falsely accusing him of taking $10,000 for a heter merabanim without providing any proof. But I want you, my viewers, to listen in to this duplicitous liar's own words when it comes to Lashon Hara, Rechilus, U'Motzi Shemra.
Okay, so I don't know where you're coming off with that whole get mi'usa. That's a bunch of mamzer hysteria garbage, and everything else you said about me, no problem. Keep telling people whatever rechilas and lashon hara you want. Just remember, you're going to give din v'cheshbon on every one of those words at Mea v'Esrim Shana. I have no problem meeting my creator. I wonder if you have that type of fearlessness as I do. Good night, Shavua Tov.
And now, for lie number 5, which is uttered against yours truly, your host, Meir Kin. Both Flatbush Clown and my ex-wife, Lana Ralbag, lie when they say aguna. Listen to their words.
20 years? Lana Kin is in Aguna for 20 years. And some of you sit back and watch American's YouTube channel because you think it's funny. Shame on you.
My name is Lana Kin, and I am what they call an aguna, a woman chained to a dead marriage.
First of all, there are no agunas today as per Rabbi Avigdor Miller, as well as I have already explained it in previous videos. But even if you consider a woman without a get as an aguna, surely this title cannot be used when a man already issued a get, as in my case. A get has been deposited with my bezdin in 2008, and Lana refuses to follow instructions issued to her in a letter written by Rav Gestetner. Therefore, she is chaining herself to a dead marriage because she craves the attention given to her by Flatbush Clown, Ora, Kayla Haber Goldstein, and other feminist organizations that want to use her as their poster child for their fake aguna movement. The problem is when you parade a woman who has a get and refuses to pick it up as an aguna, you not only appear as a liar to the public, but you misconstrue and denigrate the real aguna title and lose your credibility in the process. You see, I have given a get already to my bezdin. My bezdin has their procedures outlined in the delivery and receiving of a kosher get. So no, Lana, you are not chained to a dead marriage. The keys to unshackle you were delivered back in 2008, but you chose to continue wearing those handcuffs. So let me read for you the famous letter issued by Rabbi Gestetner to Lana, which I will also link below. Flatbush Clown knew about this letter, but purposefully withheld it from you so she could continue to maintain another Aguna client and bill for her hourly false propaganda work on behalf of this phony Aguna, as she has done for Malki Berkowitz. This is a letter dated September 5, 2018 to Mrs. Lana Kin. The Bezdin has notified you on November 10th, 2008, informing you that your husband, Mr. Meir Kin, has deposited a get on your behalf on March 10, 2008. You chose to ignore the notification for a period of 7 years until you called me on August 18, 2015 for the first time. So she hasn't even responded for 7 years. At that time, you were informed the halacha dictates that you must arrange 1. All siruvim to be voided unconditionally, as Meir has been all along compliant with halacha and was following Bezdin's directives, which is his right. All this siruvim on him is hoitzoas shem ra and unjustified. 2. Arrange that your husband be allowed into all shuls with all privileges without any conditions attached. 3. All forms of public shaming on your husband via any publications, internet, videos, letters, blogs, social media, etc., which includes Flatbush Clown, must also be unconditionally removed prior to negotiating the delivery of your get. Your neglect to follow through have delayed the delivery of your get, as the Bezdin cannot negotiate a get until those steps are completed. We have not heard from you a period of 3 more years until July 3rd, 2018, when you once again called me and asked again what conditions are needed prior to negotiating a get. I reiterated that halacha has not changed and all the requirements remain the same. An aguna is not a woman who chooses to ignore the halacha requirements outlined by a bezdin. If outside elements are preventing you from fulfilling these halachic requirements, then they are the ones who are causing you to be an aguna. Please call me once you have completed the outlined steps in its entirety. Wishing you and your family a happy new year full of bracha and hatzlacha. Signed, Rabbi A. Gestetner, Bezdin Shar HaMishpat. So you see clearly from this letter, Flatbush Clown, that it's up to Lana to pick up her get. Rabbi Gestetner doesn't want you to come to his house to pick up the get. It's up to Lana, and she has refused to follow his instructions in how to pick up the get. So in conclusion, we have here an Aguna activist who has lied multiple times and spread false propaganda against Volvi Berkowitz, Rabbi Gestetner, and myself. If this divorce saga were to take place in a civil court setting, and Flatbush Girl was a litigant caught lying or has perjured herself, then not only does she stand to lose her case, but she would never ever have her testimony believed again, since opposing counsel would argue that she has lied before and is not a credible witness. Therefore, Flatbush Girl deserves the title Flatbush Clown because everything emanating from her is laughable, unreliable, and not believable. Surprisingly, my opinion is also echoed by Label Wiener, who was the podcaster that interviewed Flatbush Clown and had this to say about her.
And the fact that Flatbush Girl, an absolute clown, who has no freaking idea what the hell she's talking about, not even a freaking clue, and is going to sit there and say that she knows better than the Gedolim of the last 1,000 years, the Ramchal, the Ramban, the every single person you can name, okay, for the last 1,000 years that has passed down the Masorah of Torah for the last 1,000 years. She's going to sit there and say that I know better than these people. There's a Beis Din in middle of Arkansas, in the middle of Montana, that I believe, I know is better than the Gedolim of the last 1,000 years. Let me tell you something. There's a lake near my house in North Woodmere. You can dive headfirst. I was debating in my mind whether or not I should even have her on the podcast. But I thought, let me have her on the podcast, and she'll expose herself as a total clown who thinks that she knows more than the Gedolim of the last 1,000 years, and that everything is due to misogyny. Clown level 100. Clown level 100, a total clown. I want to give my final take, or my final, if you want to call it, statement on this. I'm going to post it, and after this, I am putting this topic to bed. And I'm going to say something that's a very strong statement. I don't normally say it. She's a kofar. And I don't really say that about anyone. She's a kofar. She doesn't believe in Torah. She has her own Torah that she wants to institute. And I think it's a very important thing to say. And I'm saying it because it needs to be kind of called out exactly for what it is. She wants to do whatever she sees fit and make up her Torah the way she wants it to be, because she doesn't believe in it. And I said on the pod that, you identify as Orthodox, but you're a fish.
Before I end this video, I want to impart my message to Flatbush Clown, Volvi Berkowitz, and Malki Berkowitz. Flatbush Clown, your lies have been exposed. If you seek to force Gittin from men, know that your statements and actions will have no credibility whatsoever and be a waste of your time. Instead, it would be much easier for you to open up your own Beis Din and have women issuing Gittin to their husbands instead of the reverse, or issuing them Bitul Kedushin annulments as you have advocated. In this manner, you avoid all future strife and resistance involved in extracting forceful Gittin from the men. There are many men out there, including myself, who will raise our voices and protest against anyone coercing us against our halachic rights. We practice Judaism one way, and you practice another, and we will resist any attempts to try to have us go against our religious practices and rights. To Volvi Berkowitz, I say, you are an equal partner with your wife to the children. Malki cannot and should not be allowed to kidnap your children from you without first getting consent from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the third partner of this marriage. I assure you that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has not given her his permission. Therefore, the halacha in such a case is very clear. No get until Malki ceases her coercive tactics and allows you unfettered visitation with your children. Lastly, my message to Malki Berkowitz is that I understand that you were given bad advice by some Aguna activists and Askanim on how to pursue your get. The Golden Berkowitz family's reputations have been tarnished with all the public fanfare. The people who have been acting on your behalf have failed terribly. If you truly wish to receive a get and remarry again, then the only way is with derechei darchei noam, peaceful tactics and diplomacy work. War and machloikis produces casualties and not the results you seek. My advice to you is to abandon those people who want you to fight and cancel your civil divorce case. Begin allowing Volvi to see the children and allow some time to pass where tranquility will be present and no one will be paying attention to your divorce. In this manner, where there is shalom and without an ayin hara mixed in, you will see that Volvi will come around and free you, and both of you will, Emir Hashem, begin new lives. Once you initiate this track of shalom, as I advise you, I would be glad to mediate between you and Volvi at no charge and help you receive the get that you so much want. Thank you all for watching, and see you all in my next video.